Hello, good afternoon, Miss Barnesback and the classroom. So we're here in Toasted and Rolled, and I'm here to interview and make cupcakes with Jenna, an employee at Toasted and Rolled. So here, as you can see, is the bakery of an ice cream shop of Toasted and Rolled. So there's a lot of people, and here I'm ready to interview Jenna. So let's go. So we are here in Toasted and Rolled, and I'm here with Jenna, and today I'm going to be asking you some questions. So what kind of education did you have to take?
I went to college, but I didn't actually go for baking. I did mostly baking as recreation, and I was interested in going to school for it, but I never did, and I ended up just getting enough experience hands-on outside of here, and I ended up here, and I learned a lot while I was working, so that was good, just to catch on, baking at home, and I sort of ended up here that way.
Okay. So what was the hardest thing you guys had to make?
The hardest thing, I think, was puff pastry. So puff pastry, you probably know, it's like a flaky thing, mostly strudels and turnovers and things like that, and we make it from scratch here by hand. And the thing about it is the dough is really stretchy and tough. It's sort of like a big wad of gum, and we stretch it out, and we use a lot of flour, and you do all the folds by hand, and it's pretty laborious, but it was really fun.
Okay. What inspired you to be a professional pastry?
I would say my grandmother. I grew up with baking with my grandma, and she taught me a lot of things, and I ended up liking it. And then I got married, and my mother-in-law had experience doing cakes and things, and then I did cake decorating as a profession before here. And then I got more into the baking from scratch instead of decorating, and I did that a lot with her, so I was just inspired by the art of it, really.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So what are some of your favorite flavor combinations?
Chocolate and raspberry for sure.
How do you manage your time when you're receiving multiple desserts at once?
I try and prepare as many ingredients as I can to set them aside, and then if I know something can bake, say at the same temperature about the same time, I'll have multiple timers and I can put them in the oven together if they're going to be at the same temperature, and I just lay everything out best I can, and you just do your best.
How would you react if you had a customer that sent back one of your dishes?
I think the best way to deal with that is just to do your best to make them happy, make it right. If there was an issue they didn't like it, or maybe it didn't meet their expectations, then we'll try and refund them or give them something free or try and do something nice for them.
How does this position fit into your career goals?
I would say I want to go on to be able to do lots of things and continue to grow in baking, and I really love the creativity involved in it, so I'm hoping to continue growing in it.
How would you prepare pastry cream?
So a lot of it with frostings can be different. So I make a frosting that's made with heavy cream, and it's more like whipped cream, and I put that on tres leches cake. And you do heavy cream mixed with powdered sugar, and you beat it until it whips up. And then if you're wanting to do a more traditional buttercream, you can do it with Crisco, which is vegetable shortening, which the value in that is that it helps you get a truer white color because it doesn't have the butter, and you don't have to use as much sugar because you're not fighting the butter flavor. But if you do a buttercream made with actual butter, it has that yellow tint, and so you have to use more sugar to cover up the butter, but I think it tastes better because the Crisco makes it a little greasy. So I like to do a balance of the both, a little Crisco, a little butter.
That sounds really yummy. What is one of your best dishes that is always wanted?
I would say empanadas. The guava and cream cheese empanadas are really popular. It's one of my favorites too.
Pretty cool. So that's all the questions. Thank you for letting me come into the bakery. So that's all the questions I have. Thank you. Yeah. So to start, we're going to wash our hands. Dry your hands before putting your gloves on so it won't stick. Now we're going to start doing our dry ingredients. First, we're going to put something on the pan so it won't stick. And we're going to be putting some flour also on it, so whenever we try to frost it, it will fall easily, and we'll just have to use a spatula to get out the cupcakes. We're going to tap it, and now we're going to start doing our dry ingredients. So we're going to put some flour and some more powder, but for different measurements. Now we're going to start putting our baking powder and put a teaspoon on, and we're going to flow it. And now we're going to start putting the other ingredients, that is sugar, and that's a teaspoon too. We're going to put 2, and now we're going to put our chocolate pretty much and put it in our dry ingredients. And right now she's looking for little lumps, so whenever we start mixing, it won't really show. And now we're going to put our butter. That's half of the whole butter, so it could be really smooth. Put it. Now we're doing a separate, so this is our like wet ingredients. And now we're going to put some sugar. Don't spill it. Now we're going to start mixing, and it'll look like a little snowy type of mix, but that's how it will look, so do not worry. And you're going to keep mixing. Start with a slow speed, then go on and go up. Now we're going to crack our eggs. She cracked the first one, and I'm cracking the second one. We'll go boop. Yeah, it went the other way. So we have to clean it and then crack the other egg, which went pretty good. I don't want to put the shell in there. Now we're going to start mixing our dry ingredients. You're going to start mixing slowly, and it'll turn into like a grayish, brownish light color. And take out all those lumps. Now we're going to start like measuring our oven. Now, this is a little difficult part. She tried to explain it as best as she can. I'm going to try to explain it to you guys as best as I can. So, we're going to put our oven in air. Something she said like that. And I'm going to be putting the timer 10 to 12 minutes and then putting the cupcakes inside. But before, we have to start our frosting pretty much. So we're going to put our milk. Be careful not to spill it. We want it all the way. So yeah. Now we're going to put our vanilla. So that's going to make it really good and tasty, and that's a teaspoon. I'm going to put it in our wet ingredients. And now we're going to start mixing our 2 ingredients, wet and dry ingredients. So we're going to start putting the mixture of the dry ingredients and the mixture of the wet. And we're going to start by like just moving it a little bit, so all those little lumps and little things will go out and we'll have a good texture in it. So now we're going to start putting our milk. We're not going to put all of it, we're just going to put half of it, and the other half will go after we're mixing a little bit later. Now we're going to put back our mixture and start mixing. Also, again, start slowly, go up. She told me that one time she did something to her friend. She opened it back up and she put it all over her chocolate. And now we're going to put back our milk, all of it. Put the other ingredients aside so you won't make a mess. Now we're going to put it back on and start mixing. Now there's the part, all the chocolate. You want to get all that chocolate off the sides and all of the wet and dry ingredients to mix it, and you can mix it again. And now this is kind of the difficult part, but it's pretty much the fun part. You're going to start putting your batter in the little pan. So right now we're measuring to 0. And we're measuring to 100, so it could be evenly whenever we put it into the oven. And she didn't have those little cups because they didn't have the measurement exact of it, and we don't want our cake to go everywhere. So we decided to do the old way. Now we're just going to pat it in the table so it could be really even whenever we put it in the oven. And it was really good. Now we're gonna open our oven. Be careful because it was really hot, but put it with gloves. She didn't seem like it was hot to her, but for me it was pretty much. We're gonna put it slowly. We're gonna close it and put the timer 10 to 12 minutes. But do not open up the oven in the middle of when it's like starting to grow because it will explode. Trust me, it will. And now we're gonna open the oven because it's pretty much done. She also put a stick inside of it to see if the cake was ready. It was fully done. Ours was not really fully done, but we put it 2 minutes extra, as you can see right here. She put it, and it came out really good. Now we're gonna do decorate. So she's putting this to put the cupcakes whenever it comes out. And here are cupcakes, and those holes right there are the holes that we put in the whenever we checked it. And now she's getting a spatula and getting it out for us. Now we're gonna put the frosting in the piping bag, and we're gonna start frosting. And look at that yummy frosting. We're gonna start in the middle and go around and start like leave where we started pretty much. And we start in the middle, and you could do any decorations on it, just put little cute sprinkles on it. And now we're going to taste test. So we're going to open it up, and look at that delicious chocolate cupcake. It pretty much tasted like a brownie. It was really good. And here's Jenna. Thank you for letting me come in the bakery. And here's some ice cream they make. It's delicious. Come to Toasted and Rolled. Their ice cream and bakery is really good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. And thank you.